Bright QT. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. Now let's talk about our next topic here, that is measures taken to ensure free and fair elections. Now before the students, we were talking about the last stage or the last phase of any election, right? The election process in which elections are taking place. So basically we talked about the last day, that is the polling day and the counting of votes. We also talked about the model code of conduct ensured by whom? So it is being ensured by the Election Commission of India, who takes the responsibility of holding the elections at regular period of time or regular intervals. Correct or not? Yes. So we have talked about all these important points here. Now here, the most important point, like when we are talking about a democratic government, when we are talking about the elections, you must have heard this point that there should be free and fair elections. Now, what do we understand by this term here, right? Talking about or ensuring about the free and fair elections. So here students, in this topic, we are going to understand the measures taken to ensure free and fair elections. But here we will learn in two parts, okay? So at first we are going to talk about the allegations made down by the opposition parties, the ruling parties and so on, right? When the elections are over, basically what happens? These parties, the political parties who have taken part, right, who were contesting in elections, they tend to make allegations. Now, what are these allegations? Now, there is a new term that you will learn here, that is rigging. So, let us talk about the allegations that you will find in newspapers, that you can watch on TV once the elections are over. So, at first, let us understand the term that is allegations. So, allegations here, it refers to the inclusion of false names in the voters list, or that genuine names are not included in the list. So, basically what is happening here? That after every elections, the allegations against each other, they are made by all the political parties. Okay? And how are we going to know about this? Definitely through the medium of media. So here newspapers, televisions, they show these allegations, they talk about these allegations, they discuss about the allegations made by the respective political parties. So what are these allegations? So the first one that we can talk about is the inclusion of false names in the voters list. Now what is happening? These political parties, they try to put this allegation that false names are being included in the voters list and genuine names are not included in the list, so that people who are inclined to that party or those people who are working for that party, they can have a good number of people going and voting in the favor of that party, right? So that they can easily win in the election. The next point here is that the ruling party is accused of using government facilities and officials. Now, the party that is ruling, they are also being accused of certain things. Now, what is that? That is of using government facilities and officials. Now, if you remember before this, in Model Code of Conduct, what did we read? We read that no one is allowed to use government resource. Now, when we are talking about the government resource, it can include the government facilities that can vary from transportation, then other resources such as using the government officials, government facilities and so on. So, the ruling party is being accused of this as well. So, this is another allegation that can be put on. Apart from that, the rich candidates, they are also being accused of using their money power to win the elections. Now, what do you understand by this point? Didn't we read earlier, students, that people can be bribed, right? They can be forced to vote for a particular party. So when we're talking about the rich candidates, definitely they can spend lots and lots of money in elections, right? But the Election Commission of India, they also try to ensure that there is a certain amount that each and every political party they can spend, right? There is a certain amount that each and every political party they can give in any particular election, the general elections that we are referring to. But here, the rich candidates who have lots and lots of money, They are using their money power to win the elections. They are distributing money in the rural areas. Specifically, here I would like to point out about the rural areas. To the poor people, definitely they are in need of money, right? So definitely they are more prone to take the money and also vote for the political party who is distributing money to them. So these rich candidates, they are being accused of using that money power to win the elections. Also, the voters are intimidated by the use of muscle power. Another accusation that is, or allegation that we can talk about here is that the voters, they are forced, they are intimidated by the use of muscle power, and also they are prevented from voting. At certain places, what happens? Now, this is not happening in today's day, but yes, when we are talking about, let's say, 5 to 6 years back, at certain places we can say that the whole polling booth that you already have learnt about, right? So the whole place, it was destroyed. People were not allowed to vote and they were intimidated. They were asked not to go to vote for this particular party. So they tried to disrupt this whole day of the election that we are talking about, the polling day of the election that we are referring to. So use of muscle power, another allegation. But here the most important point that you will read in your book is about rigging. Now, what do we understand by the term rigging? Now, it takes place by people using unfair and illegal means to win the elections. Now, in many newspapers, sometimes, if any illegal means have been used, you can say that, the election was rigged. It means that unfair or illegal means were used to win the elections. Now, for example, the best example that we can put on here is that more than one person votes, it can be there under the same name. Now, this is an illegal means to win the election. Now, these are some of the points that you have to keep in mind. But who is taking care? Who is taking the onus or the responsibility to ensure free and fair elections? Now, this is one of the basic features of a democratic government. Correct or not, students? Yes? So here, it is the Election Commission of India, the body that is the official body that is taking care to ensure that there should be free and fair elections without any allegations, accusations made by the political parties, and also they have to see that the elections are being conducted and it is taking place in a smooth way. Okay. So here we have to understand about the Election Commission that I am referring to time and again here. Right, students? So in two parts, we are going to talk about Independent Election Commission. Then we will also talk about people's participation. It is again a major part in which, we can ensure that free and fair elections can take place in our country. So this was all about the allegations, the accusations that are generally made after elections have been held in our country. So in our next part, we will talk about the Independent Election Commission, and then later on we will talk about people's participation. Thank you very much.